يا أمة الإسلام بشرى لن يطول بك الهوان قد لاح فجرك باسما فلترقبي ذاك الزمان.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I pray your Ramadan is going well. Some people have asked in the comments for some more information about my background and the backstory. There is a video in the playlist for this series, 30 Dreams and 30 Nights. There is a video which is a 4-hour podcast that I did a few months ago with a British Asian rapper called Shizio in London. So there I have a conversation and I'm talking about my backstory and about prison and Bosnia and how I went there. So the whole story is there. You can find it in the same playlist. The other thing I wanted to say is that please leave a comment and let me know which city and country you're listening from, and introduce yourself to everyone if you want to. But if not, just mention the city and the country where you're listening from. If you enjoyed this content, please share it. Please like, comment, share it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Today's dream is a dream that I saw on the 20th of August 2012. At that time, I had been held without trial for just over 8 years. I was in the UK. I was in a UK prison, in HM Prison Long Lartin. And for the last 5 years, I had been isolated. I had been in small group isolation with 7 other Muslim detainees, and we were not allowed to leave that unit. The conditions on that unit were relatively comfortable. The staff, most of them were decent staff, but we weren't allowed to leave that unit. The prison governor at that time, so it had just been Eid and we were not allowed to celebrate Eid with the other prisoners. I had lost my final appeal at the European Court of Human Rights, and my extradition to the United States of America, which I had been fighting for the last 8 years, was imminent any day. So those are the circumstances under which I saw this dream, that I thought any day I'm going to be extradited, and that's where my life is going to end, because I'm going to spend the rest of my life in an American prison in solitary confinement somewhere. So the night after Eid, I saw a dream that I'm in a forest and I'm approaching a tree. And as I get closer to the tree, I'm getting stung repeatedly by bees. But I reach forward, despite being stung repeatedly by bees, I reach forward towards a beehive that is on the tree. So I'm approaching this tree and I see a beehive on the tree, but I'm being stung repeatedly by bees. But I continue towards that beehive. I reach for the beehive and I take some honeycomb out of it. And after I take the honeycomb, I take some honey from the honeycomb. That's the end of the dream. What I understood from that is I'm going to get some sort of sweetness and benefit from what I'm going through, but I have to pay the price of that, which means I have to be stung by bees. There's a saying which says, when you go out in search of honey, be prepared to be stung by bees. Nothing it comes for free. 3 reflections from this story. The first one is not what you think it is. If you know, you know. But the first reflection from this story is the sweetness of life is discovered through hardship. Go back to your life and think about a time when you underwent a period of hardship. Maybe you were sick for a number of months, or maybe you're in hospital for a few weeks. Maybe you were struggling financially. Maybe someone close to you died. Maybe there was some situation with your paperwork or your immigration status. Maybe you were struggling in any way whatsoever. How close were you to Allah at that time? How did that change you as a person? It is through hardship that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enriches our lives and our character, and He brings out the best version of ourselves. That is one of the benefits why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He puts us through hardships. You find that people that have gone through hardships, when they talk about that time, how close they were to Allah, when they talk about how compassionate they were towards themselves and others, how their family came together, how they became less judgmental of people, how they became humble, how they were able to see the hardships and struggles of other people. Because when you are going through pain, or when you have been through pain, then you can see and recognize that pain in other people. There is a beautiful quote by this Swiss-American psychiatrist by the name of Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. And in the 60s or 70s, she wrote this famous book on death and dying, and her speciality was spending time with people towards the end of their lives and treating any mental health conditions and just supporting them towards the end of their lives. And there's one of the most beautiful quotes. Someone sent it to me when I was in prison, and I'm just going to read it out to you. She wrote, "The most beautiful people we have known are those who have known defeat, known suffering, known struggle, known loss, and have found their way out of the depths. These persons have an appreciation, a sensitivity, and an understanding of life that fills them with compassion, gentleness, and a deep loving concern. Beautiful people do not just happen." What a beautiful quote. Imam Shafi'i, he said, "No one becomes powerful until he is tested." Where's the logic behind that? When you have been oppressed or persecuted or harmed, whether it's by another person or whether it's by a group of people or whether it's by a government or a regime, the fear of that thing that you have already survived, that thing goes. If you've been to prison, the fear of prison goes from you. If you have been through having losing a part of your body, the fear of that goes from you. If you have been through some type of pain, then that thing, you are no longer afraid by that thing anymore. So hardships and trials, even though they are painful, it changes people. And it improves people for the better if you want it to do so. The second lesson, when you go out in search of honey, you must be prepared to be stung by bees. There cannot be the sweetness of life without its hardships. But those hardships are temporary. Just like the sting is temporary when you get stung by a bee, and I've been stung by a wasp. I've been stung by a wasp a couple of times. It's painful, it hurts, but it's only temporary. In the same way, whatever struggles you're going through in your life right now, I promise you that it's temporary. No hardship lasts forever. There is always an end. No matter how long and dark and cold and lonely the night is, there's going to be a dawn, and there's going to be a beautiful sunrise. So if you're struggling right now, just hold on, and it's all going to be okay. That sting that you're experiencing right now, the pain from that, it's temporary, and after that, there will be the honey that you can have, and you can take the sweetness from this trial. The third lesson, what does a bee do? How does a bee make honey? It goes to a plant that tastes bitter, that has thorns around it. Maybe the plant doesn't even look good. It goes in there and it extracts the nectar. It doesn't take all parts of the flower. It just takes the nectar out from that plant, from that flower, and it turns it into something sweet that benefits and heals people. You can choose, if you have been through a hardship or you are going through a hardship, you can either choose to be bitter and angry and hateful and vengeful about what happened to you, or you can be like the bee, that you take the nectar, the sweet nectar you take from that bitter plant, and you turn it into something even sweeter that benefits other people. You can put that suffering that you went through into helping other people in the same situation as yourself, or who are going through something that is similar. After hardship, there are people who become better as a result of the hardship, and there are some people who become worse. You can make that choice. But sometimes we need help, sometimes we need support in order to turn the bitterness of that hardship into the sweetness of honey. And that is something like therapy, trauma therapy to process therapy. And you often hear people, they're saying, who have been through a hardship, oh, alhamdulillah, Allah gave me sabr, I'm okay, I wasn't affected by it, I wasn't traumatized by it, alhamdulillah, I'm okay. Bro, you're not being honest. You're not being honest if you say that. What you're telling me is that I can get a knife and I can cut that knife on your skin and it's not going to bleed. That's what you're telling me, basically. That you can go through trauma or severe torture or injustice, or you can go through some severe trauma, and you're saying that it hasn't affected you. So you think it hasn't affected you, or you have convinced yourself it hasn't affected you. Then why do you have diabetes and you're age 25? Why have you lost all of your hair and you're only 19? Why have you got arthritis and you're 31 years old? Why have you got all of these health problems? All of these health problems that normally come to people in their 60s or 70s or 80s, and you're like in your 20s or 25 or 30 and you have these health problems. Because that is the trauma that is trapped inside your body. But there is hope. That trauma can come out of your body. You can't change the past. People often, they're scared of therapy and they say, what's the point? It can't change. I can't change the past. I can't bring back my mum or dad. I can't bring back my disability. I can't go back to going how it was. I can't change the fact that I went to prison. I can't change the fact that my house burnt down. No, you can't. But through therapy, you can stop that thing harming your body. You can stop the nightmares. You can stop that jittery feeling when someone talks about it, or when there's a trigger relating to that, where you get butterflies in your stomach, or you just freeze up and you're not able to breathe, or you start hyperventilating, or you have a flashback. That is trauma. Anything that makes you feel funny inside your body, when that thing is remembered, it could be something as a teacher shouted at you at school when you were 5 years old over a pencil that you broke. And when you think about that, you start feeling tense and unsafe and uncomfortable. That is trauma. I'm not talking, it doesn't have to be as dramatic as your house burnt down or you were almost killed. It doesn't have to be something that dramatic. Trauma, it is trapped in the body, but it can be released and processed through therapy. I've been through lots of therapy. I've had more than 100 hours of therapy in the last 10 years, and I still struggle. Some days are better than others, but I'm in a far better place having gone through that therapy than I would be if I had not gone through that therapy. Therapy, imagine like a tumor that is inside your body. If you leave that tumor inside your body, it can grow and fester and spread, and it will eventually kill you. But if you want to take that tumor out, there's going to be pain. You have to cut through skin and flesh and bone, and then you take the tumor out, and then the scar will be there from the operation. The scar will be there. It will always be there. And there's going to be a period of pain until the body adjusts to that tumor that's been taken out. But after that, you're going to be okay. Therapy is uncomfortable. Finding out about those things about your past that you haven't spoken about to anyone, that you don't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about it. That thing that you don't want to talk about, it's taking energy, it's draining you. It's explaining why you're unhappy. It's explaining why you can't sleep. It's explaining why your relationships are suffering. It's explaining why you've got no motivation to get up in the morning. It's explaining why your weight is increasing. It's explaining your health problems. That thing that is trapped inside of you. But there is hope, and it can be it can be processed and it can be taken away. You can stop your body being harmed by that trauma. So the third lesson is that in order to get the sweetness from that hardship, often we need some help in order to process that hardship and to take away the bitter parts of it and then to turn it into something sweet. And just as a caveat, I'm not saying if you have suffered injustice, you should forgive and forget. I'm not saying that at all. I never forgave and forget the people that did harm to me. But I'm not bitter about it. There's a difference. What I did, I left it to Allah. I said, Allah, these officers, they assaulted me, they subjected me to abuse and this and that, whatever. Deal with them. Give me justice in this life and in the next life. I've handed it over to you. So I've sent it over to him. He's taking care of it. So I'm not shackled to that. But that doesn't mean that I've forgiven those people. Why should I forgive them? For what they did to me? Have they apologized? Have they come to me and they said, you know what, we're really sorry that we strangled you, nearly strangled you to death, or we beat you, or we humiliated you? Have they come to me and apologized? No, they haven't. So I don't believe in this that, oh, you have to forgive and you'll make it, you'll feel lighter. If you want to, that's up to you. Allah gives you the choice. If you want to forgive, that's up to you. But if you don't want to forgive, that is also up to you. I can't say to you, oh, come on now, just forgive and forget about it. Because you're going to turn around and say to me, bro, you didn't go through what I went through. You haven't had your family killed in war. It's easy for you to say that. You haven't lost a family member, or you haven't become disabled, or you haven't lost all your money to a scam. It's easy for you to say forgive and forget. And they're right. Don't ever say to someone forgive and forget, because you haven't been through the pain. It's easy for you to say you haven't been through the pain that they have been through. One of the things that I often do, if I see an exceptional person, so you have people and then you have people that are exceptional. If I ever see an exceptional person, I always ask them their secret. Say, what is your secret? Once I met this lady and who was very charitable and always helping people on an exceptional level. And for years and years, she was doing that. So I asked her once, I said, what is your secret? Why are you like this? Why do you go out of the way to help other people? And she told me, she said, because my family, they grew up in poverty and we were so poor that we had to get food from a food bank. And we were so poor that my dad, he took me out of school so that I could work and help him support the family. So now I'm at a stage of my life where Allah has given me something. I know what it's like. I've been there. And I know that feeling that people, they go through where they are shy, they don't want to ask. And I want to be that person that is able to help them, because I can relate to what they're going through, because I've been there myself. You will find exceptional or beautiful people. You will find maybe they had a disabled sibling or a disabled parent and they spent many years caring for that disabled person, and that's where their beautiful character comes from. You will always find some secret in that exceptional person, and ask them. If you find someone exceptional, just sit them down, say, I want to know, tell me, what is the secret? Why are you the way that you are? Why do you go out of your way to help other people? And you will find that. If you benefited from this video, please like it, please leave a comment, even to say salam or to say where you're from or whatever, and share it to someone who may be struggling, who may be able to go through this, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
يا أمة الإسلام بشرى لن يطول بك الهوان قد لاح فجرك باسما فلترقبي ذاك الزمان يا أمة الإسلام بشرى لن يطول بك الهوان قد لاح فجرك باسما فلترقبي ذاك